A few months ago, I brought you a series called Fight for Your Life, an experiment in self-defense. And we showed you how to defend yourself in scenarios from carjacking to a mugging. I got so much positive feedback from it, I decided to do it again. And this time in a place that has people worried all around the world. Fight for Your Life, an experiment in self-defense is back. This time, we're on an airplane. My goal is to show that anyone with proper training can fight for your own life. San Diego's well-known self-defense experts Mike and Ann Maholkanen take us on board a 727. Both instructors of the Israeli Army form of self-defense called Krav Maga. I've agreed to real-to-life simulated surprise attacks on the airplane. But first, this form of self-defense starts at the airport, curbside.
I always say that I'd rather have hurt feelings than hurt individuals with dead bodies.
FBI tells us look for and report suspicious behavior from the minute you get there.
We can only do so much, and the American public, are the eyes and ears.
One of the world's leading experts in analyzing human behavior, retired FBI Special Agent Jack Schaefer. Schaefer, specializing in counterintelligence and author of 2 books, has had 29 years of law enforcement. He says that you can catch a terrorist by watching their behavior.
Looking at the watch, sweating profusely, you walking, pacing back and forth, hand rubbing. A lot of speech errors that you're going to make, a lot of speech hesitation.
And that's just the beginning. Schaefer says 99% of what he does is classified, but agreed to do this interview. There's something called purity of intent. For a terrorist, his or her intent can be deeply considered pure, so he's not going to be nervous about what he's doing. He will be worried about getting stopped before he completes his mission. In other words, he's not worried about bombing the plane. He's worried about not bombing the plane. If he gets caught before he gets on and that plane takes off, he can't complete his mission. So he's still nervous.
Well, an airport's an interesting place because traveling in and of itself is stressful.
Schaefer says a good place to watch for suspicious behavior is the line at the security checkpoint. He says the bad guy's stress level goes up the closer he gets to the security agents. He fears discovery. Now, the normal, the innocent traveler, our stress level is going to go down the closer we get.
So if you look at the waiting area of an airport, what you look for is people that are stressed. Because most people, when they make their plane, they relax, they're happy, they're talking, they're smiling. Those people are probably not terrorists because terrorists aren't happy.
He says you can't go wrong by reporting behaviors, and it may just be a person who's scared of flying. But if there's ever a place to be vigilant, it's the airport.
It matters because the consequences are severe, because you're going to lose a plane load of people, potentially. Well, you can't be wrong, because all you're going to do is look at behavior, you're going to observe behavior, you're going to catalog behaviors, and you're going to report behaviors. You can't ever be wrong.
Nothing personal. Schaefer says that reporting information is actually very easy. All you have to do is walk up to an agent, walk up to a security person, say you see odd behavior in someone. He says you don't have to leave your name, you don't have to leave contact information, you can make your flight, you can go on your way. And once you're gone, when law enforcement takes over, he says within 1 or 2 questions, they are quickly going to know if they're dealing with a person who's possibly scared of flying or they're dealing with a terrorist.
People don't have to worry about being right or wrong. All they do is look at behaviors, catalog them, tell somebody, and then let them follow through to determine if there's a threat or not.
Okay, so we learned what to look for on the curbside, right over there at the ticket counter. Now we're just cruising along the airport. We're gonna go get into the security line and get on the plane. See you there. In part 2, we go on board the 727 and find out that self-defense in a small space has to happen fast and furious. Ooh. Okay, so this is a 3-part series. That was the first part. And going into producing these stories, I had no idea what I was going to come up with. All I know is I wanted to do self-defense on an airplane. So the whole part 1, that ended up being about behavior analysis. So the FBI, first thing they said was, well, let's just start at the airport because we can find behavior curbside, we can find it, getting up to the security gate, after the security gate, before you even get onto the plane. So their big message is be alert and don't be afraid to communicate. Be alert and don't be afraid to communicate. What I found to be the most interesting thing was what Jack Schaefer said. He's a behavior analyst, big time behavior analyst, retired now with the FBI, written a couple books. And the simplest thing he said is the bad guy is going to get more nervous as he gets to the TSA guy.
Right.
Because as humans, when we see other people, whether we realize it or not, we classify them as friend or foe. Period. All of us. We do it every time we look at somebody, friend or foe. As we get to TSA, whether we like to admit it or not, TSA is our friend. If we like TSA, the bad guy doesn't, because that's where his fear of discovery is. So as we realize we're going to make our plane, our stress level goes down, and their stress level is going up because they have a fear of discovery.
Yeah, it seems natural. Obviously, you're getting to the point where you're supposed to get caught. So, and then I guess tomorrow we have part two.
It never occurred to me, though. Never occurred to me. Yeah, part 2 coming up tomorrow, where we get on the plane, the action starts, and we're going to start learning some self-defense in a small space.
And also Fox 5 San Diego, that story is going to be posted on there a little bit later on, right?
Yep.
Okay, Chrissy, thank you. Good stuff. Today's top stories, by the way, are coming up in just a moment, plus an update on the weather and traffic from Miss Russo once again on this Monday.
But first, let's see what Heather Ford is working on.